Oh, I didn't do it. Yay. I thought the computer locked up on me for a second. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to jump in. What's happening, everybody? What's going on? It's Tuesday night. What's going on, Ryan? Thanks a lot for sharing, buddy. I appreciate that very much. So, everyone, welcome to the show. We got a great show tonight. We're going to talk with CBS of Borg, or CB Zane, whatever you want to call them. We're going to run through our sponsors real quick, and then we will bring out the guest of the night. We've got Melone Management with Lisa Malone. Do you have a project that needs help? Do you need somebody to do advertising for you, or look for stretch goals, or best place to get stretch goals? While you crank out your project, hit up Lisa Malone for all your Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or crowdfunding needs. We have 183 Degree Studios with Alfred Trujillo, Doobie Doobie Doo, MS AZ Power Girl, Karen Nicole. Check out their Patreon. Links above in the description, as well as 183 Degree Studios, and you can get some original art and all kinds of cool stuff from there. We have Codex Entertainment LLC with Luis Torres, with Lily the Demoness Chapter 5 launching next Monday. The link is in the description. Hit notify me and get in on Lily the Demoness Chapter 5 with catch-up tiers. We also have Naughty Faeries with Miss Wendy Steen Shaner. There's a link above for the Naughty Faeries Con. Backer kit is still available. And there's also the Etsy link in there. If you don't know what Naughty Faeries is, go check out the books and get caught up on that phenomenal series with covers from the artist that's going to be on tonight as well, and on Lily the Demoness. There's a trend here. And we have Outpost 426 Studios. I don't know who that is, with CB Zane and Michael Shoemaker. Check out their awesome projects Into the Suck, Scorpiana, and now the Mighty Mite, which is live on Kickstarter. Link is in the description above, and we will be talking about that project as well as the fine man behind the Mighty Mite. And last but not least, we have DPopp Customz with Dustin Poppins. Do you have a print that needs dusting off, needs some jazzing up, and throw it on the wall for some cool stuff? Get it lit up. All kinds of custom frames that he can do for you. Hit up DPopp Customz. And without further ado, we're going to bring out CB Zane.
What's happening?
Hey, man, I think like every single one of the sponsors, you have covers on for stuff for them. You know, you got Fire Bitch and...
yeah. It seems like it, which is cool. I love being part of this. I mean, the indie world is where it's at. So really cool. You sound like you've done this before, Russell. And that was one smooth intro. Well done.
Man, I've never done this before. I got to admit, this is my first time. You know, my twin brother usually does this, but you know,
you're a natural.
Yeah, we'll just kick him out. Screw Russ Explode Studios. Yeah. This is Paul Explode Studios.
Yeah. Paul Allen.
Hey, what's going on, Stephanie? Thanks for joining in. Hey, Joshua, how you doing tonight?
Hey, y'all. Hey. Ryan,
man,
Stephanie, nice.
Let's see who all we can get banned tonight.
Yeah.
But hey, you know what? At least we've proved something so far. The Facebook comments are showing up. That's a good sign, you know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hopefully that's been ironed out.
Well, yeah. I mean, last week we had a live stream. It was like a half an hour in. Like all of a sudden, I got a comment dump of like 80 comments. And I was like, "Oh man, these people have been commenting the whole time," and I like had no idea.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but hey, we're good. We're good to go. Yep. So, man, the Mighty Mite.
Yeah.
Let's back it up. How did you come up with the idea for this character? I know it was part of Comic Unity Online Con, was kind of her intro into the world, but how did you come up with Mite?
Yeah, Mite goes way back for me in my sketchbooks, and I've always been a fan of like the powerhouse characters. So, you know, I've always been a Hulk fan, She-Hulk. My favorite X-Man was always Colossus. I always gravitated toward the powerhouses, and I thought, what an awesome thing if I had a little powerhouse, you know? And so Mite just was a name that seemed to really fit, and I started sketching her out, and I wanted her to be little and diminutive. Usually, the Hulk is whatever, 7 to 10 feet tall. I didn't want her to be that, but I wanted her to be like Hulk strong. So I started doodling her like all over the place. And at first when I drew her, she had blonde hair with pigtails, and it was kind of pink at the end. And that was the look I did for the longest time. And she wore like a tank top and these tights that said Mite. And her color schemes, like for her outfit, were pretty much the same, but a very different look. And it's one of the things that I plan on posting soon on my Facebook page, just to show people the history of Mite. And it'll probably make its way into the comic at some point if I do like a a trade paperback or something once I collect the issues to show like where she started. And you can even get a look at her because her first, I guess, appearance really took place in Scorpiana 2. Or no, was it the first Scorpiana? The first Scorpiana, where they're talking about all these metas that have been created by this substance called quantium and this event that took place. And you can see her in the background on this TV screen that this group is being, prepped for. And it's not even the Space Buns look there. It's the original look. So between that and, using her again in Scorpiana 2 and then going to Comics Unity, I realized I needed to come up with a different look for her, but still keep that diminutive quality and that cuteness that I wanted her to be. Because I didn't want her to be angry like the Hulk. I wanted her to be everything that Powerhouse isn't supposed to be. And that's great.
Yeah, small, cute, young, childish.
Yeah. I wanted to be young and energetic and just up for anything in life. I wanted her to be that type of character. And in her, origin story, which was in Comic Unity, and I expanded upon a little bit for this campaign, I wanted her to really embrace her powers. Like, she suddenly became different. And instead of being like, what do I do? How do I do this? Her background prior to changing into the powerhouse that she is was as an athlete. So I didn't have to have her go through the awkward transformation of suddenly being able to jump and do all these athletic moves. She was used to it, even though she was still 5 feet tall, and she played basketball and she played softball and she played volleyball. She was an athlete, and I didn't want there to be that adjustment. I just wanted her to, she wakes up, she's suddenly muscular, she has pink hair, and she's like, this is cool. Like, I want to do this. And, I just wanted her to embrace every moment of it. And still in the back of her mind, she wonders, like, if her friends are going to accept her and if, the society is going to look differently at her. But she doesn't want to approach anything different. So that was kind of, the little bit of high school experience that takes place in her origin story, too. So
that's awesome. I was like, you kind of waiting for like this backstory, like once upon a time, CV had this pet dust mite.
Yeah.
And he took it to the dust mite carnival, and it won like the weightlifting championship.
Yeah.
And so you just wanted to continue the legacy.
No, nothing quite like that. Like, it was just, the gravitation toward those characters that I loved and wanting to do a different version of it. But I will say, in one of the added on stories, we get to hear where her name comes from, which is kind of cool. Which was a little something that I threw in, and that was unlocked as a stretch goal in the Mite campaign. So that's explained there, and it's fun. Like, I want the book to be fun. I want it to have a heart behind it, which I think is something that you and I have in common, because your story, is very personal to you. And there's a heart behind your story that you wrote for Xenonanite Titan. And that's what I always want Mite to have, is a heart behind the story. It's a superhero story, but I want there to be, I don't know if a purpose is the right reason, but there's always going to be something that I hope people can connect to. And I've kind of explained that my influences for that, probably my biggest influence is actually the TV show Scrubs. And I love Scrubs because, you could laugh and you could cry at that show.
Yep.
And I thought, I wanted that to be Mite. I wanted, you could laugh, you could have fun, you can enjoy the action, but maybe it's going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit. And even her origin story is very personal to me. So
that's awesome, man. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And then you got Lewis, pulling us out of left field with what is Mite's flavor of ice cream.
It's funny because one of Mite's jobs in high school was at an ice cream shop. So I would think she's probably a cotton candy ice cream fan or something like that.
Yeah, I can dig that. Cotton candy ice cream's awesome. And he said Xenonanite Titans go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely can appreciate that, man. That's where the best stories come from. The ones that you can laugh with, you can have fun, you can follow the story, but you want to connect with the character. You want the character to seem real. You want it to be, and it's like you're trying to portray. You got like this kind of high school athlete aged girl that's just like, wow, I have these powers, and like
Yeah.
you said, are people going to perceive me differently? Are things going to be normal? And hey, this is pretty awesome. I'm just going to roll with it, because that's what we
Yeah.
would all do. We will. I mean, I don't know, all of us. Some of us would do some crazy stuff. Like if I woke up with Gambit's powers when I was in high school, I would just be
Yeah.
like blowing holes in the football field.
Right.
Look what I can do.
That's the great things about superheroes is, most of them decide to do it and serve the world with a good purpose. But, and there's so many like dark stories out there now, like when I'm thinking about what you could do with the power, the first movie that popped in my head was Brightburn, which sort of explores, well, what if Superman just, decided, screw Smallville, I'm going to rule this world.
Yeah.
And then you got like Invincible, and The Boys. And I don't get me wrong, I love those stories, and I like an edge to characters. And Scorpiana is sort of that edge. She's sort of the badass character. But I wanted Mite to be sort of the breath of fresh air. And in part, that's just because for me, I have so many stories I want to tell. And Mite is one, corner of that world that I want to be able to have that outlet for, the fun superhero story. Scorpiana can be my edgy R story. Into the Suck is my sci-fi, getting that, like, that creative feel for sci-fi out there. And then BlackRabbit is going to be my, kind of mature thing down the road. So, but it's something I haven't really done before. But like I said, there's stories to tell, and there's so many other characters. And every day I watch something, I see something, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that story too. So,
so you got them all piling up in there, but it's like, we got to get Mite going, because you already, you already teased it out there in Scorpiana, and then you had the comic unity. So, I am pretty excited about BlackRabbit, though. I've been anxiously awaiting more teasers on that now that you mention it. Hint, hint.
Yeah, it is some of the, if I can toot my own horn a little bit, and I hate doing this, but it is it might be the best interiors I've ever done. Almost every page looks like it could be a cover, and I did it very differently, and the story is going to be different. The comic book is going to read differently. I'm hoping it hasn't been colored yet, but I know the vision I have for the colors, and that's going to be different. And I think it's going to be exciting. So, and it's going to be naughty, but again, that scratches that itch.
Oh man! So hopefully we're going to get a Squee After Dark original cover from Miss April Grady Reyna. I mean,
well, that's so funny you say that, because there is a Squee After Dark back cover for Into the Suck, and I don't think I have an issue nearby, but it's Squee kind of fawning over a lava lamp, and the lava lamp has a very feminine kind of look to it. And if you look in the corner of the cover, there's a tissue box and some lotion, and the girls from Into the Suck are laughing at him in the doorway. And that was something that Keith Thomas had come up with. He was like, hey, we need to do like that. And it ended up becoming a back cover. So if I find it before we go off the air, I'll share it. If not, I'll share it at a later date. But if anyone has Into the Suck, you look for that. It's one of the back covers. I want to say issue 2 maybe, or issue 3. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
It makes me think of the one time, so sometimes at work we switch trucks. And this one day, so Dan usually drives this one truck. I think it was 21. And so Jeremiah has to drive 21 one day, and he gets in the truck, and there's like 3 cup holders. There's one on the dash, and there's 2 on the side of the seat. And in one cup holder was a bottle of Lubriderm, and the other cup holder, there was a thing of tissue paper, and he's like, oh my God, I don't want to touch the inside of this truck. and Dan's like, well, I had the toilet papers to blow my nose with, and he's like, yeah, that's probably what's sneezing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, well, it's too early for this. It's like 4:00 in the morning, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
And it's tough to drive no-handed, right?
It's like he's driving on the road. He's got those white driving gloves on. Like, I don't want to touch anything.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So no, the sound BlackRabbit sounds like a lot of fun, and I love Mite. Of course we know Miss Wendy Steenshainer absolutely loves the pink space buns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting. We gotta convince Wendy to do a cosplay of Mite. I mean, she's got to do it.
Yeah, it was funny too because and this will be another thing I share is when I was trying to really finalize her look, I went through a couple of different, hairstyles. Even staying blonde for one, I think I threw like a backwards hat on her. There was the space buns. There was a different type of ponytail, and I showed these I think to my family first, and then I was like, which ones do you like? And then I probably shared it with a couple other people, maybe even Lewis. I don't remember, but what's that?
It says if I could see through clothes or turn invisible, I probably do very bad things instead of being a superhero. The mad splooger.
Yeah. Invisibility would have its perks.
It would have its perks. FYI, number 4 is the issue with Squee and the lava lamp on the back.
Thanks,
so
Johnny.
funny. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one it is. I forgot all about that because it's been a few months since I had them out, and I'm like, man, number 2, I don't even know.
Yeah, I realized as I was saying it definitely wasn't number 2. So
number 2.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, issue 4 is Squee. It's and that's a testament to Keith's wit. His sense of humor was so funny, and he threw that out there. I was like, oh yeah, let's go with this. So
that's awesome. So man, I've had you on the show a few times now. We did a couple of panel shows, and then we've had a couple one-on-one shows, but we've never really had a chance to talk about where did art start with you, and like what was kind of your path down the road to doing art.
I wish there was a really exciting story about it, but I'll just tell it this way. It was just something I always remember doing. I even remember like drawing in like as early as kindergarten. I had a grandma who had moved away to California for a few years, and I remember drawing cards for her. And I always drew birds. I wish I had those so you could see how bad, because I remember drawing like these robins, but they had like these beaks that look like teeth. They look like dragon mouths. I remember always drawing my birds like that. But it was just something I always enjoyed doing. And it was probably around, I would say 4th or 5th grade, when I finally realized that comic books, like I would pick them up usually if I went shopping with my mom, and see one and be like, oh, can I get this? It was either that or Mad Magazine. And when I realized that comic books, the story continues from month to month, I was like, it does? Like, this is amazing. And there was a flea market that was behind my school, and there was a guy who sold comics there. And so I used to go there, and I would pick up comic books and I would read them. And, he's still the comic shop I go to. This is now 30 years in the making or so. So that was my one and only love when it came to art was that. Movies were a big influence. I remember seeing Star Wars for the first time and coming home and wanting to draw the entire movie and trying to remember what all the characters look like and drawing them. And I decided, I had a good friend too, and he was into comics and he would draw a lot. He went the music route as he got older, but like we would have sleepovers and we would draw from the minute we got there to like 7 in the morning. The birds would be chirping and we'd be finishing up. We always did a 10-page issue. The first one we ever did, I think, was our own version of an X-Men book. We did X-Men versus the Punisher. Oh. And yeah, but the funny part was like the Punisher was just some character we saw in Handbook to the Marvel Universe. We were like, this is a really cool looking character, but I never really knew anything other than he was this guy with a black suit and a skull on his chest. So we did that. That's the earliest comic book I can remember doing with my buddy there. And then we started making our own characters and our own comics, and it just kept going, and I stuck with it. And I got a little bit away from it when I went to college, because I ended up going into what I thought I was going to go into psychology, and I was playing football at the time, and I didn't have time to draw, and until we had an away trip, and we were going up to play. It might have been like Dartmouth, I think, in football, and I needed something to read on the bus, and I picked up an X-Men comic book, and I fell in love again and started drawing, and all the guys on the team, a lot of them were comic book fans too, and they kept encouraging me, and so I guess the rest is history. It just kind of kept going from there.
And so Luis Torres is asking the burning question of, CB, when you were in high school, did you hang out with the comic nerds or the jocks?
Both, I would say. Honestly,
the jocks or the nerds, right?
Not necessarily. No, they were kind of different. Like I said, my one good friend that I would draw comics with, I guess was more the nerdy type. He wasn't like in band, but he grew this love for music and started playing while he was and he actually had a song that made its way onto the TV show Felicity at one point. And I think he still records music, and he's become like a music critic too for like a local like newspaper up here. So I had him that I would hang out with, and a couple other friends, and then I had all the jocks that I played sports with. So I played 3 sports in high school, and so I had my sports friends, and I had my comic book friends, and it stayed separate like that pretty much. I don't know, for me, I don't find very many jocks that are also comic book fans. The two worlds don't collide very often, but
well, and especially back in that time. I mean, you say 30 years ago. I mean, people like wouldn't want to be open about the fact, like, hey, I read comic books.
Right.
Usually, you're the one getting stuffed in the locker or put in the trash can and rolled down the hill at the high school.
Yeah. So
it doesn't bring back like PTSD flashbacks, does it, CB? Just kidding.
It was funny. I can remember though, like even in grade school, like that friend of mine and we would draw like in school, and people would always they'd give us like a quarter to draw like Wonder Woman or something like that. It was crazy.
There she is.
What's up, Wendy? I can see Wendy smile, and I can't even see her face.
I know, me too. She just brightened the room up. She came in, her wings spread, and she's just smiling. And
I have to say this, one of my favorite things is when I do shows like this and there's questions coming from everyone. I think that's super cool. I love be able to answer questions like from the audience too. That's awesome. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, Mike? And she said, you guys are funny. No,
yeah.
You're smiling from ear to ear right now. Those pearly whites are sparkling. Angels are playing their harps. The doves are flying through the air.
Yeah, the fairies are.
The fairies are, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're on mission,
Yeah, they know who the naughtiest fairy is.
They do. So I'm going to share a screen on here, a little bit of the art for anybody that's not in here that has not ever seen the Mighty Mite and some of CB's work.
Yeah, let's do this.
She said, yes, they do.
Yeah. There we go.
So there we go. We've got cover A by the mighty CB Zane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's colored by Yelenia Di Napoli, and she's an Italian colorist. And I have to thank Luis, actually. He was I think the very first person who had Yelenia color my stuff. And for me, it's just sort of a match made in heaven. She's one of my favorite colorists to work with. I think she complements my line work very, very well, and it makes it look 100 times better than what it is.
That's right. Space Buns rock.
Yeah.
And I can just hear Luis giggling because CB just said she colors my stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta
Oh,
watch it.
man.
Lewis is it.
I can't go down there because I know where it'll go then.
Wait, you can't go down there. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, it would be too personal for Lewis there. This is my other cover, Sunshine. This is my colors actually, and it was fun trying to make Mite look tan with the whole sunshine theme going. So I know I am working on my colors, and I'll give Wendy props too. She's kind of my color manager of sorts. She sent me some videos and stuff to look at. And this is one of my covers as well. The Japanese kanji there says me actually, and so I'll give Lewis some props here. He had asked me to do an anime cover for him, and I was like, I kind of don't really do anime, but I was willing to try it because I do love good anime. It's some beautiful work. So with a little help from some references and some ideas, that's what I threw together. And I actually do like coloring in that sort of animated anime or manga style. That comes much more naturally to me than some of the other colors. So that's my plunge into the manga look.
Well, I do have to say this. I absolutely love it. I think you should do more work like that. Like
Uh,
I've always kind of thrown some anime characters in on the Monday nights when you get on AASN and draw.
yeah,
And I'm always like hoping, I'm like, come on, pick
yeah,
mine. And like when you said, oh, I got a manga cover coming out for the Mighty Mite, I was like,
yeah.
yes, I can't wait to see what this looks like. And I got to say, you say you threw it together. You nailed it, man. It looks
Thank you.
phenomenal. I absolutely love it.
Thanks. Yeah, I like manga has a certain feel to it, and I don't know. I think I captured it. It felt manga to me. So, thanks, Lewis. Yeah, it is definitely out of my comfort zone, and I love it. There's certain manga I love, but this is Ivan Talavera, and I came across him on ArtStation and reached out to him, and his work is gorgeous. If you haven't checked out his work, just type in his name, Google it, and look. And as soon as I saw like the faces and stuff that he created, I was like, he's perfect for my. I zoom in on that face all the time. Her eyes, he just captured Mite to me.
And and that's the fun thing about having other people depict your characters is seeing the different ways people portray it in their own eyes and in their own style. That's what I love about the variant covers in general. And that was what was cool about Zeno and Anite Titan as well. When I commissioned all you guys to do pieces for of Raziel, it was like here's the base art, but run with it. And it was really cool to see where everybody ran with it. And it's just so much fun to flip through here and look at all the variants and see the different poses and action that's going on.
Yeah, and it's cool, being an artist and working with artists. I get inspired by what they do too. John Royal was another guy who, I mean, I know, Shawnee, thank you. I love it too. John Royal is someone I came across, and he, if you look at his bio, he's worked for everyone, Marvel, DC, right down the list. And he has a very J. Scott Campbell vibe to me. And that was one thing that I really, really liked. And I thought, if I could get something like that for Mite, I thought that worked as well because it just has such energy to it. So he was like, yeah, I love the look of the character. I'm in. And he organized Sebastian Chang, who also colors for Marvel, to color the piece. That's who he works with. And I was like, yeah, go for it. And it just has so much energy.
It does. It's awesome. I don't know who did this one. It was some Wendy chick, I think.
Yeah, it was. This is a Wendy Chic. And this actually comes from Wendy has a backup story in this issue of Mite, which plays off of what takes place in the story itself with Mite's prom. And so she wrote the story, and I drew it Zaney style, and I gave her a whole list of subjects to do a cover for, and she was like, she took the prom and went with it. And one of there's some, if you if you look, there's some really cool things going on in here that you'll get to see kind of in the story, but are brought to life here. First of all, I talked about this the other day, but Wendy's style is amazing, and the 3D she creates is incredible. And the skin tones and textures that she uses, like just for the clothes, the skin, like to zoom in, it's so good. But I haven't talked about this yet, but if you look in the background, Mite's prom takes place in an aquarium.
I was gonna say you can see shark fins in the
You can
background.
see the water, the big tank behind it, and that is such a cool little thing that she added to it. It's an amazing cover, and I'm so happy to have Wendy as part of this as a writer and as a cover artist. And this is Jeff Spokes, and I almost said Sproles for some reason, but Jeff Spokes, a super cool guy. I've talked with him a few times just through like email and DMing, in part with this cover, and then just chatting in general. And he's worked for, I believe, Marvel and DC, and he has kind of a Adam Hughes vibe going on with his art, but I love the clean line work, and I sent him the story, and he absolutely loved the comic book, and he was like, "Oh yeah," and so he shot this idea back of her lifting this huge mechanism, and he started throwing in elements from the story in the background. I was like, "This is amazing!" So I'm so happy with that cover. All of the covers are amazing. And Joel Souza, tremendous artist. It does look like Hughes. He has a very Hughes feel to him, and you're going to see a lot more of Jeff with my books, with Outpost 426. We love them, but Joel Souza has a very Bruce Timm feel to it, and I always felt like if I could do an animated show of Mite, I think this is exactly what I would want it to look like. This, and so Joel now has a backup story. And in his stories where we learn where Mite gets her name, and I wrote it, and it's his art, and it's just amazing. This is the newest one released by Minori Rogue. Again, if you haven't checked out his art, like Google his name, and he does these amazing like pictures like this. He's going to be doing. He's in the process of working on a Scorpiana cover as well. But I will definitely have him as part of the campaign again. And there's still another. There's a Bill McKay cover that will be released next week sometime that I'm looking forward to showing everyone. So
yeah, and this one just released last night at midnight, correct?
Yep, it did. Brand spanking new to the campaign. So, and then we're offering up spin-off comics, if because certainly it has Mite in it, but 2 other incredible stories: Catnip by Tom Hutchison, and Sirenist by the very well-esteemed naughtiest fairy herself, Wendy Steen Shaner, with all her art. So it's an awesome book, and I thought it fit in with the campaign, so I figured I'd offer that too.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had a blast with Comic Unity Online Con, especially me with a taser, going around tasing everybody.
And we are so thankful that you were able to keep control. And we knew Lewis was going to try to do something to sneak in. Maybe some people said he went too far with the Wendy wig, but it was good that you. I don't know if you used the dogs to sniff him out or if it was just your keen sense, but getting him with the taser was definitely the right call.
What it was is, I have this Hyundai detector outside of the con, and it detected a disturbance in the Hyundai force, and so I was like, man, anytime now Lewis is going to come strolling in, and then this goofy looking chick with some blonde hair come in trying to be Wendy. I was like, that smile is not Wendy's, and so I barbecued his ass. So now,
that's what it takes. Yep, absolutely, 100%.
You got the crowd stirred up now. Bill McKay tells Steph, and what a Bill McKay, damn you CB for torturing my wallet.
It's so funny. I met Bill, 2-3 years ago at C2E2, Tom actually introduced me, and we were talking, and I said, I'd love to have you do a cover for me someday. And he was like, yeah, just hit me up. And I think I hit him up like maybe 2 weeks after, and for about the better part of a year and a half, I was ghosted by him. And finally he responded. He was like, oh my God. He's like, and he was so apologetic. He's like, I didn't see these messages. So sorry. Yeah, I'm on it. What do you need done? And he was just, he was great. So you can actually see a little sneak peek of his cover. If you scroll down the sketch goals, for anybody who wants a sneak peek, you can see the original, like, raw art that he put together. And you can also see it too. I had posted just a block of mites, all the mite heads from the covers on my Facebook before the campaign even started, and you can get a little taste of what Bill put together. But it is, for Bill McKay fans, they're going to be so happy. And it fits Mite. So, but that'll be released, and that'll be super cool too.
Now I'm going back to the Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
So who are some of your dream artists that you would like to bring in, in some of the later issues of Mite?
Well, I mean, my number one would be if I could get Adam Hughes. I've honestly reached out to him. I actually did get a response that Adam is too busy. But the fact that I got a response was really, really cool. I would love to have, actually, J. Scott Campbell would be really cool because I'm a fan of his art. I've never reached out to him. Dean Yeagle would be really awesome. I would be ecstatic to get him. I reached out, and I'm going to continue to reach out to Terry Dotson. I did get a response from him, and he really liked the way the book looked, but he said, he's working on his own title right now. But I said, do you mind if I try to reach out to you in the future? And he was like, yeah, go for it. So fingers are crossed. Yes, look at that. It's Steph Pool cover.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be interesting too. Yeah, I agree, Mike.
I don't want none unless you got space buns, huh?
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful.
Oh, it's coming to you. That was one of my ones later on, and then I drew another one that you'll love too, because we all know that you're a super huge King Kong fan.
Oh yes, I think this is a special request. Oh, that is great. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Godzilla pool. That's great.
So, it happens.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That is great.
I know.
Man, that's better than I could have imagined.
Sorry, I'm sidetracked by this stretch goal thing here.
Oh yeah, that's all right. I'll keep talking about all the artists I would love to have as part of this. But Dean Yeagle was the last one I mentioned. Terry Dotson would be awesome. A personal favorite of mine. I don't know how many people are fans of Paul Smith, or if you remember Paul Smith, he did an incredible run on the X-Men. After John Byrne, after Dave Cockrum came back, Paul Smith came in, and he was one of my favorite artists when I started collecting. When I was talking about collecting X-Men back in the day when I was younger, it was Paul Smith's run that I just flat out loved. And I have, it's back here somewhere. Gotta carefully remove this. This is my Paul Smith Colossus that I got from him at the Pittsburgh Comic-Con. I got a little smudge on the glass here, but he was sitting there all by himself, and I saw his name on the table, and I said, hi, are you Paul Smith from the X-Men, Doctor Strange? She's like, that's me. And there was nobody around, and I sat there and I talked to him for, I bet, 45 minutes, an hour. It's just about comic books and art. And he said, hey, he goes, would you like a sketch? And I said, sure, I'd love one. And he said, who's your favorite X-Men? I said, my favorite's always been Colossus. And he sat there and he drew that in the blue line. And I said, this is amazing. How much do I owe you? He goes, it's yours. You're a fan. I appreciate it. And I was like, that's so cool. So I have a Paul Smith original. And I very much would like to have him do a book. Not more for my sake, so I could have the original art, and just it would be Paul Smith, my one of my favorite artists of all time, doing like one of my characters would be so cool. So, but I'm sure I could think of other people. Frank Cho, that would be pretty cool.
So last night, actually, of course, you were talking about Adam Hughes. You did your own piece in sort of an Adam Hughes style. Is that piece still available?
It is not. It's actually been scooped up.
So, well, see, I was going to have you, showcase it on here for anybody that was interested. But yeah, I figured that wouldn't last long.
Show it again, but it has been scooped up, and I think I'll probably do another Adam Hughes homage somewhere down the road. This is how it turned out. It's there's parts of it I really, really like. I think I captured Adam Hughes, and there's parts I know like to do it again. I think I would just be a little bit looser with my line work, a little bit more relaxed, maybe not so intimidated. But thanks, Wendy. I appreciate that.
And Mike said, "Great story, CB."
Oh, thanks, Mike. Yeah, there's like one of those things that I'll never ever forget. I've been lucky enough to get to talk with people. Here's my claim to fame. I actually had 2 original Adam Hughes pieces behind me too, before he became too crazy. Like before you had to pay $1,000 to get his piece. So I have a ghost piece that's done just in pencil, and then I like to think that this was one of the first pieces he did that he inked. It's a Miss Marvel.
Oh, that's awesome. It's beautiful. And
I remember coming back to pick it up, and he said, I hope you don't mind. He goes, I had to ink it. He goes, because there was so much black in it. It just didn't look right. I was like, yeah, anything you do would be amazing. So I actually did have my portfolio reviewed by Adam Hughes at one point. Gosh, I can't believe how this is all coming back. The comic shop that I went to, that I've been going to for 30 years, chance meeting with a guy in there, and the guy who owns the shop, it's called Haley's Comics. His name is George, and George was like, oh, hey, this is so-and-so. And he, introduced me. He said, CB's an artist, and this guy happened to know Adam Hughes somehow. He's like, oh, I could have him look at your portfolio for you. And I was like Adam Hughes, really? And he's like, yeah. And so I said, sure. And I gave him, it was like a Captain America story I had done, and I think it was a Red Sonja story. And he like forwarded the story to Adam, the art to Adam, and Adam like forwarded through him back to me. And he told me to never ever show the Captain America story. Just because he didn't think like I captured Cap. Not that the art was necessarily bad, which I thought was funny. But the Red Sonja piece, he was like it was a very positive experience to hear from him. He did like that, so that was pretty cool.
And from here on out, that's why CB only draws chicks. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
He didn't really capture Cap, but he got Red Sonja, so he just stuck with the babes.
Right, yeah.
Oh man! And what Mike said, mind that he had to ink it? Like, really?
I know, right?
It's like, oh no, I don't mind at all. Thank you.
No, and like I said, like up until that point, everything that I'd seen him do, even at that whole con, was all pencil, but mine was done in ink. And I don't. I like to think that jump started him doing more inks for the shows.
That was his apology for saying you didn't quite capture Cap.
Yeah, I got it. Well, I had this sketch before it. Like I was brave enough to show my art to him. So.
Oh, did you? Okay,
yeah.
Well, we can't use that as an excuse then, right?
Right. It just worked, I guess.
So speaking of cons, do you have any cons that you plan on attending this year, or?
Fingers are crossed. I I can't say for 100% certainty that C2E2 is going to happen. I think that's like early December this year, which
Yep.
shouldn't be too bad. But the plan is to do that, and right now I'm hoping that things work out, and that'll be with Wendy. Lisa Melone was the one who kind of put the whole thing together. I don't know if Steph is part of that or not. I know I saw his name rumored. I think December is going to be there. Alfred and Kara are going to be there. So all your sponsors are going to be at a booth, I think, at C2E2. I did apply for an Artist Alley table. I haven't heard back. So that would be another thing that might factor into it when it's all said and done. But if nothing else, we'll all be there together at the very least. That's my hope. I love that. It's one of my favorite shows. And then the other one I'm trying to do, I think, is the Baltimore Comic-Con, which is in I think that's early October, if I remember correctly. So those are the two right now that I have lined up. And it was so hard to plan ahead because who knew what was going to be open?
Yeah.
We'll see, a little bit at a time.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You don't really want to commit to a bunch of cons because then they'd be like, "Oh, we're going to push it to next year because our state tightened restrictions," and then you got money tied up because they're like, "Oh, no refunds. We're going to push you to next year," and it's like, "Well, I don't know if I can make it to the dates next year." Yeah. It's October 22nd to 24th in Baltimore.
Right. Okay. So toward the end of October, but I would really like to do a con in Texas at some point. Because Lewis is down there and a bunch of other people that are, part of the chats, I think would be neat.
Yeah, we can get the Mite party bus going on down there.
I know, it'd be a good time. So that maybe Atlanta, because Mike Shoemaker is down there, and it's funny, Mike and I have like known each other almost kind of like exclusively through like chatting. We've become friends. I think it's been about 20 years now, and we've never met in person, which is so wild, but we have a lot in common. So I'd like to do something maybe down that way. And then maybe another one toward the West Coast. I did Arizona. I think it was Phoenix Comic-Con. It was probably about 7-8 years ago now. But like to get down to like Wendy's neck of the woods would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Get into the Naughty Fairy territory.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike said, "I'll drive 4 hours to see you in Hotlanta."
Oh, yeah. That would be sweet. I would love that.
Wendy Steenscheiner has been to Texas but never comes to see me. And Wendy said that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with everybody that's going to C2E2, I'm probably going to try to go this year. I know it's in December, which is nuts. We went in 19 and it was cold then. And so last year when they were talking about having it in February, I was like, oh, heck no. I got 2 toddlers. And, and then we drove down there in 19 and it was like a nightmare. And everybody's like, well, why don't you Uber? I'm like, what am I going to do with the car seats when we get to the con? It's not like they have like a check your luggage or check in area where you can drop stuff off. And I don't want to lug these around. So
right.
It wouldn't be too bad if we were able to, catch a Uber and stay further away from the con, but it was just so freaking expensive. But I'm like, December, like I live 5 hours from Chicago and our weather goes like today it'll be like 90 and tomorrow it'll be like 35 degrees outside. So we'll be like, oh, it's going to be nice at C2E2 when we get up there and they get like 10 inches of snow.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping early December won't be that bad. Because I live in a suburb of Buffalo, New York, and we're known for like our snow. But our Decembers, knock on wood, haven't been bad at all. So I'm hoping that's the case because for me, it's a 9-hour drive. So,
yeah, usually early December isn't too bad because I think we still are at like 80-degree temperatures here. It's just like when you get past Christmas, it's like. And then we have our flip-flop days. You go to work and bundled up like you're in the Antarctic, and then you leave work like you're a freaking redneck with like a cut off shorts and a freaking tank top. It's like, oh my God, I'm dying. It's like 100 degrees outside. Gotta love the Midwest. Jeez. Did I miss it? Oh, there that was.
Yeah. I think there's a story to be told there about a 15-year-old Wendy Steenscheiner who stops at a gas station in Texas and sees a lowly old boy eyeing up some Nissan. I think that story needs to be told. A tumbleweed comes through.
Yeah.
He looks fawningly at the good-looking blonde who is just strolling through.
She said next time. It's like once every 15 years, Lewis. You just got to hit it right. You know, it's like the lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can just see it now. He's out there in his 95. You know, let's see. Whenever she was 15, so we're gonna say like 95. You know, Hyundai. He's fueling up. Just went in and got him a Slim Jim. And here comes Wendy strutting out. That's where the Naughty Fairy story started. Because Lewis tried to hit on her, and she's like, "Man, we need Naughty Fairies in the world to take care of these creeps."
I think Wendy, she was 15 in what, like, I think 2016 maybe. She's 21 now.
Yeah. He would have been 3.
Yeah.
Wendy is like the cicadas. She comes around every 15 years.
To tell Naughty Fairy stories, and then she goes back into hiding.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we still got to push Wendy. She's got to do, like at Christmas time, the Naughty Gigolo Elf Assassins. I mean, this is the greatest idea ever. And she just keeps telling me, yeah, like 90. I wish.
No.
Oh, jeez.
She's so sweet.
She is. She's the best.
Yep.
Jeez.
So did you find the Bill McKay? Did you?
Oh, I did find it.
Okay.
Yeah, I found it. I was going to share it, but I'll let everybody else find it for themselves.
Yeah,
I tried to zoom in on
a little
it.
Easter egg for people.
Yeah, they're going to be scrolling back and forth like, "Where's Bill McKay? Where's Bill McKay at?" You know, and then you know. So, I didn't pop that link in there for everybody either. Anybody that goes back and watches this, it's in the description, but we'll pop it in there anyway, just for shits and giggles. So, so I want to talk real quick about BlackRabbit, and then I guess I'll let you go because I'm sure you're a busy man. You got all this crazy stuff coming in from into this Scorpiana. No,
I'll put it into perspective because you're actually right with all of that. So I'm running the Mite campaign. I literally have Into the Suck 6 arriving tomorrow or the day after, which has been a whole long nightmare of a process to get that printed, but it's finally here. And I'm currently drawing Scorpiana 3. So yes, all 3 of my worlds are colliding. Independent George, and so yeah, busy.
So one of the things I wanted to ask is, you had mentioned, I guess in a post, about a month ago, that BlackRabbit will be releasing later this year, possibly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, the first issue is done. In terms of the story is written, I have it completely drawn. I have my cover artists lined up, and I have an incredible lineup of cover artists for that one. And so once that's something that I'm going to start focusing in on once Mite is done, and I'm a little under halfway done with Scorpiana 3. So sort of as I'm working on that, I'll be ready to start finishing up the stuff with BlackRabbit. But that's going to happen, and there's going to be a sneak preview story-ish, I guess, that's in Tom Hutchinson's Goth Day book. There's a 3-issue BlackRabbit, or a 3-page BlackRabbit story. So it'll give you just a little taste, but the book itself is going to be something completely different. And I've described it as kind of Catwoman meets 50 Shades of Grey, without the BDSM.
But, wait a minute, what?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
It's an erotic
kidding.
Kind of Catwomanish story. She's a thief, and she gets off on the thrill of the steal, and she is also she has 3 personalities that she's dealing with too. And I know that all sounds really random, but it's super cool how it came together. And so there's 3 issues that are that right now are completely written. One is completely drawn. And I'll see how that one goes. And if people like it, then I'll go on to issue 2 and then issue 3. And probably at some point have a trade paperback. Originally, I thought about doing it as one big graphic novel. And I kind of went back and forth whether I wanted to or not, but there was definitely 3 different elements to the story that fit perfectly to do as 3 separate books, but obviously still told the story. And so that's ultimately, it just made more sense to do it that way. So hopefully people like it. I'm so happy with the way the art came out. I tried some different techniques with it, and I'll continue teasing some stuff for BlackRabbit, but I'm excited. Like I said, it's very different. It is the polar opposite of Mite. Mite is, a superhero, along the lines of like a Marvel DC kind of, story. Scorpiana is an R-rated story. BlackRabbit is mature. It's definitely mature, but I didn't want it to be exploitative. I wanted it to be sexy. I wanted it to be erotic. Like I wanted to capture.
You wanted it to be tasteful.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, some of the story, it isn't necessarily tasteful, but I wanted it to have an elegance about it. I wanted it to look like, like erotic photography, where it's like it kind of titillates and it teases, and it's like, wow, that's hot. And I wanted to capture that without it being like pornographic, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm going for with it. And it's one of those, like when you read it, you're going to be like, whew, that's, might make you sweat a little bit, but I think it's going to be fun.
So one other question I had real quick before we get off here too is how are we going with the sequel to Nebula Pearl?
My like penthouse now hustler. Yes, yeah. Maybe Playboy, not hustler type thing. Nebula Pearl. I don't know. I'm
excited for the next installment. I read it like 3 times just because there's funny stuff in there that you catch. It's kind of like Fire Bitch when you go through. There's stuff that or even with Scorpiana, you go through stuff and there's things you miss going on in the background the first time because you're so enveloped in the story and you're kind of paying a little bit of attention there. And then you go back through and you look and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this?
Yeah, I love doing stuff like that. Even Scorpiana 2, there's a picture of Lewis in the background on one of them. I think it's one of the bedroom scenes. You can see Lewis's picture in a frame on like a dresser. He's in there. So I love doing stuff like that. And Mite actually has a lot of little Easter eggs in it too. I may have talked about them before, but I'll divulge more of them like down the road. But I'll leave that for you guys to see if you can figure out some of the background things taking place.
Yeah, guys, take pictures of it, tag CB, and be like, look at this Easter egg I found.
Yeah. There's probably at least 5 real good ones in Mite. If people really pay attention, they'll see where they came from. So,
well, I can already tell you right now, Lewis just went through and unlatched all of his windows and unlocked all of his doors because when he heard that, BlackRabbit gets off on the heist, he's like, come rob me blind. It's like everything's unlocked.
Yeah. I thought maybe he would have unlocked Steph's because I think he creeps outside of Steph's house, doesn't he?
Steal all the Steph stuff. And I'll watch.
Yeah, he invites her down to the basement. Steph will never hear us.
All right, man. Well, I'll give you the full screen. I'll give you a chance to tell everybody where they can find you and where they can order these fantastic books from. Whether now I know you said Comic Unity is available on the Kickstarter for Mite right now, but if anybody's looking for Scorpiana or Into the Suck or anything else.
Yeah. All right, so this is where I tell you how I am woefully behind the times, and that I am hopefully in the process of putting together a website where I can get back issues of stuff to you. But the easiest way to get any back issues of Into the Suck, Scorpiana, spin-off comics is to just contact me directly, to DM me through Facebook, and that's the easiest way to find me in general, is on my Facebook page. I do have an ArtStation page, and actually if you go there, you can see a sneak peek of BlackRabbit on my ArtStation page. And I'm going to try to make a conscientious effort to be on Instagram a little bit more. So this is my year to finally get into the now, if you will. So, and of course, I'll be doing some Kickstarters, and right now, Mighty Mite is going on. It runs until July 3rd, and there's still a couple more things that still need to be released. Like I said, the Bill McKay cover gets released next week, and then there's some prints that will be released as well, and hopefully it'll have a nice strong finish to it. So, and then kickstarting again later this year will be Scorpiana 3 and BlackRabbit, so look for posts for that. And keep watching Russ and supporting him. He does a great job, and support indie comics. Lewis has his Lily the Demoness #5 coming out soon, and I have some covers for that, and I know he has a ton of other amazing covers, and I know Wendy's got something coming down the chute, so make sure you support Wendy and everybody else. So, and Russ, when are you coming out next again? When's the next Xeno Nanite coming? You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I always like try to mute because I'm back here typing away. I was pulling up links and stuff.
I was going to start doing bad lip reading.
Those are the best. I love watching those, man.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead one's the greatest.
Oh my God.
Jar jar do. Oh man. And so my next one I'm planning on September, but
nice.
I had a bunch of health stuff come in like 8 months later. They're like, hey, you owe us all this money. So I've been trying to like pay down some of that stuff. So there may be a delay in getting art for book 2. I'm gonna, like I said, this weekend I'm gonna post some slabs up for sale to try to make that money back to be able to pay for the art, because I want everything to be done like it was for this one. The only thing we had to wait on this one for was this handy dandy fancy letter here that's upside down from the Library of Congress. And so I'm sending everything over. We're communicating this week and getting the print done up. So I should be shipping book 1 hopefully by the end of next week and have everything finished by the end of the month. I'll just do a huge batch and do everything over the weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm planning on September, hopefully for book 2.
Nice.
If things have to be, I may push to February just because like once you're hit, if you can't make it into October, November, December is just not a good time to run campaigns. So I'm hoping not to do.
Kara and Alfred had a great campaign for Fire Bitch in December, so I don't know if it's the void that everyone thinks it is, but that's awesome though. Congratulations, and I look forward to getting my copy too.
Oh yeah, it'll be coming soon. And Mike said, "Thanks for everything, CB. Stay busy."
Oh, I plan to. So thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, and thanks everybody else who was out there.
And Stuff Wilson's making burgers right now. He burned the first batch. How can he burn it? It's a circle. He doesn't burn circles.
And maybe he had the square patties and it just threw him off.
All right, well, I'm going to kick you to the back room if you want to hang out for just a second.
Sure.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Thanks, Ross. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys, thanks so much for being here tonight. Thanks, everybody who comes back and watches this. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you supporting indie artists, indie creators, and everyone in the indie community. Definitely check out the Mighty Mite. Get in on that Comic Unity Online, that spin-off comics book, if you missed out on it, and get some of the prelude stories to the characters on that. Also, be sure to check out BlackRabbit coming out later this year, and hit up CB Zane for Scorpiana and Into the Suck, which are both great stories, great books, and he can catch you up with all that stuff. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Lewis. So, guys, one last shout out. I want to talk about the book that is up for auction right now for cb4k.org. Ed Williams sent me the Walking Dead 183 cover with Scooby-Doo. If you missed out on that cover, go to my personal page, and it is pinned to the very top. The current bid is right now is at $100. All proceeds from that auction go towards CB4, the CB4K Comic Books for Kids, which sends comics, pops, Pez dispensers, coloring books to kids in the hospitals all over the nation who are sick and may not ever get to go home again, and gives them a little bit of glimmer of happiness and hope. So please check that out. Throw a bid at it. The bidding ends Friday at 8 p.m. Central Time, my time. And like I said, it's at $100 now. That bid includes shipping. It's packed up in a Gemini, ready to go out. So please check that out, and please check out ZenoNaniteTitan.com and order a t-shirt. We have t-shirts right now on there. All proceeds from those go to cb4k.org as well. Again, that is ZenoNaniteTitan.com. And if you have trouble spelling that, just go to Russ Explode Studios, and the website is in the link above. And check out all those links in the description for Wendy Steen Shaner, for Naughty Faeries, Alfred Trujillo, and the 183 Degree Studios with Kara Nicole. And check out all the good stuff from Outpost 426 Studios and Codex Entertainment LLC. Everyone, have a great night. Have a great rest of the week. And I'll see you guys Saturday at 5. I got a special show popping up. Have a great week, everyone.